Hello students, let us continue with the same chapter, that is chapter 2, Theory of Consumer Behavior. Under that, next one more concept that is related to indifference curve. So features of indifference curve. Already you have learned an indifference curve is a curve which shows different combinations of two products in which the consumer gets the same level of satisfaction. Now let us continue with the features of indifference curve. This particular question is asked for 6 marks in the board exam. For 6 marks, you need to write 3 features of an indifference curve. With the help of a diagram, you need to explain all these 3 features. Let us begin with the first feature of an indifference curve. First feature of an indifference curve says indifference curve slopes downward from left to right. Now the question is, why an indifference curve slopes downward from left to right side? Answer is, it is mainly because of the operation of marginal rate of substitution. Now let us understand what is marginal rate of substitution. It is the rate at which the consumer will substitute one product for another. As you have already seen, indifference curve shows combinations of two products, different combinations of two products. So what marginal rate of substitution says? It says the rate at which one product is substituted to get another product, extra unit. Let us understand with the help of a diagram. I have drawn here one diagram where I have shown the indifference curve which is sloping downward. Let us take one point on the indifference curve, point A. If we are showing some combinations of two goods, that shows 1 unit of banana is there, and let us suppose it is 10 mangoes. 10 mangoes plus 1 banana at point A. That is a combination. Suppose, imagine that consumer wants to be there in this particular point, point C. So what the point C shows? Point C shows 5 mangoes and 2 bananas. That means in order to have one extra banana, the consumer has to reduce or sacrifice or forgo 5 mangoes. That rate is called marginal rate of substitution. Because of the operation of marginal rate of substitution, the curve slopes downward from left to right, and always the marginal rate of substitution is diminishing. Because of the diminishing marginal rate of substitution, the curve is convex to the origin. Shape of the curve is convex to the origin. Let us study more about marginal rate of substitution in the next concept. Now for the time being, you understand what is marginal rate of substitution, and remember that marginal rate of substitution is always diminishing. How it is diminishing, that I will tell you with the help of one schedule in the future concept. So indifference curve slopes downward from left to right. In the exam, you need to write this point. After that, you need to explain this point by drawing a diagram, and you should say that it slopes downward because of the operation of marginal rate of substitution and what is marginal rate of substitution also you need to explain with the help of the diagram. For 1 mark, question is asked, expand MRS. So you need to know the full form of MRS. MRS is nothing but marginal rate of substitution. Let us go for the next feature of an indifference curve. The second feature of an indifference curve says, higher the indifference curve gives greater level of utility. That means higher the indifference curve, higher will be the level of utility. Let us explain this with the help of one schedule and a diagram. In the schedule, I have mentioned the 3 combinations A, B, C and the bananas taken 1, 2, 3 and mangoes 10 remains the same 10. So let us convert this schedule into a diagram. To convert this schedule into a diagram, we need to draw first these 2 axes, y axis and x axis. Later you draw 3 indifference curves, name them as IC1, IC2 and IC3. On OX axis we are measuring bananas and OY axis we are measuring mangoes. Let us mark one point here which shows the combination of 10 mangoes and other combinations of bananas. So on OX axis mark 1, 2, 3. Suppose if we mark A point here on IC1 curve, A point on IC1 curve, that gives us 10 mangoes and 1 banana. This point gives us 10 mangoes and 1 banana. And that point A lies on IC1 curve which is lower compared to IC2 curve. That means IC1 curve gives lower level of satisfaction than IC2 curve. Suppose if we take this point on IC2 curve that shows 10 mangoes are there but number of bananas are increased to 2. That means compared to this, the consumer is in a better position or is getting more utility at point B. If we take point C on IC3 curve, that shows the consumer is having the combination of 10 mangoes and 3 bananas which is higher than all the other 2 combinations which lie on the lower indifference curves. So point B is better than point A, point C is better than point B and point A because it lies on the higher indifference curve IC3. So higher the indifference curve, higher or greater will be the level of satisfaction. If you want, you can write the combinations also in the explanation part of the answer. So combination I will write here the combination. For example, the combination A shows 10 mangoes plus 1 banana. I will write it as B. Point B shows 10 mangoes plus 2 bananas. Point C shows 10 mangoes plus 3 bananas, and the consumer prefers this combination, and if you observe in the diagram, this combination lies on the higher level of indifference curve which gives higher level of satisfaction to the consumer. So a rational consumer always prefers among these 3 combinations this combination because This combination gives you more level of satisfaction, higher level of satisfaction. That is called monotonic preference also we have seen in the previous video. Let us see the third feature of an indifference curve. The third feature of an indifference curve says two indifference curves never intersect each other. Two indifference curves never intersect each other. To understand this, let us draw a diagram where we will allow two indifference curves to intersect. What do you mean by intersecting? Intersecting means joining or meeting each other at one particular point. Let us draw one diagram and explain the third feature. I have drawn two axes here, y axis and x axis. As you already know, x axis we are measuring the bananas and y axis we are measuring mangoes. Let us draw an indifference curve. I see 1. Draw one more indifference curve. I see 2. And these two indifference curves are meeting or intersecting at point A. Let us mark one more point here on IC1 as B, another point on IC2 as C. So this is the A point where the two indifference curves are intersecting. One more point on IC1, that is B point, and IC2 we have C point. Let us see what happens if these two indifference curves intersect each other. If they intersect each other, they will lead to conflicting results. What do you mean by conflicting results? See, you can take IC1 curve here. On IC1 curve, you have 2 points, point A and point B. So, according to the feature of an indifference curve, points on the indifference curve give same level of satisfaction. That means A and B points are giving same level of satisfaction. Let us take two more points on IC2 curve. IC2 curve we have point A and point C. That means point A and C are giving same level of satisfaction. It means here A and B are giving the same level of satisfaction on IC1. IC2, A and C are giving the same level of satisfaction. That means point A is giving same level of satisfaction as that of B and C. But it is not correct. Why? Because B is lying on the lower indifference curve IC1, C is lying on the higher indifference curve IC2. According to our features, higher the indifference curve, higher will be the level of satisfaction. But since these two indifference curves are intersecting each other or meeting each other at point A, they are giving conflicting or misleading results, saying that B and point C are giving the same level of satisfaction, which is not correct. Therefore, two indifference curves never intersect each other. They should not intersect each other. If they intersect, they will lead to conflicting results. So, in the exam, For 6 marks, you need to write 3 features. You need to explain these 3 features with the help of a diagram also. After drawing the diagram, explanation, proper explanation you need to give. Before starting the features, instead of going for directly the features of an indifference curve, you can write one paragraph as what do you mean by indifference curve. Meaning of that particular curve you mention, then you start with the features of an indifference curve. Write all the 3 features, explain them with the help of diagram. After writing, conclude that these are the 3 important features of an indifference curve. For 6 marks, you need to write all these points. For the board exam, more frequently they have asked this particular question. Of course, the chapter 2 of microeconomics, theory of consumer behavior, is an important chapter from which majority of the questions, more questions come from that particular chapter. So you need to be thorough with each and every concept of this particular chapter. I hope you understood all the features of an indifference curve. Thank you.